Hi everybody, it's me again, Charles Norman, Sports Solutions LLC. We are the creators of AthleticSOS, and you can see it's a pretty foggy day. One of the things I've been getting a lot, the fall season's kind of moved away, and football season's kind of winding up out here for high school. And I'm getting the same things I'm getting year after year after year. We've been at this a long time. And most parents keep asking me, what is it you have to do to get an athletic scholarship, especially the kids that are in their senior year right now. And the kids that are in their junior years, and they've had a pretty good year, but the seniors are the ones that are panicking a little bit. They thought they had something in hand. They had some colleges. They've got letters all over their walls. They've got college coaches, assistant coaches contacting them. And for most of the kids, when you're in your senior year, that fall, winter, you usually get invited to come to some of the colleges, the ones that are really interested in you. They invite you to come down to watch their football games, even if you're playing a different sport. They want you to come and get that feeling of coming on their campus and watching all the excitement and the tailgating and just being involved in that atmosphere. It kind of gets you jazzed up about going to that school. That's why when people talk about college sports and it's a waste of money and all that kind of stuff, that is who gets the kids to want to go to your school. That excitement, they want that. That is part of the college atmosphere, going to the football game. Yes, basketball is important, baseball, football, soccer, everything else, volleyball. They want those teams to win. But it's football that kind of gives you that collegiate feel because it's in the fall, the leaves are turning, all that stuff, all the cool stuff, right? So parents are always asking me, okay, what is it that we have to do? We thought we had this thing set up. And what they're really asking me is, how do I get a NCAA Division I football scholarship? That's really what they're asking. They don't even think about D2, D3, NAIA. Those are things I have to kind of educate them on. That there's all these other possibilities. You can still play, and it's still exciting because no matter which college you go to, if you're an athlete on that school, the atmosphere is completely different, and it's still exciting, and you still will fall in love with that school if it is the right school for you. And so I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that I think a lot of the kids and the families and the parents especially miss out on. And this is to me is the number one thing for you guys if this is what you want. You have to play against other NCAA Division I level athletes in high school. You have to do that. You've got to show yourself up against those other kids, because that is where the college coach, especially if they don't know who you are, you don't have a big name, you're not around. They want to see, can you go against this level of player? And a lot of people, what they do is they get a bunch of big stats. They may come from a small town, they may come to a smaller high school, and the big school's over here, but your kid's really good, they hang in there. But when your kid plays, or your kid's on the big school, and they run up a lot of stats and things like that, and it all looks good, it all feels good, you're doing everything you're supposed to do. But that's not what's convincing a college coach. Can you handle yourself against other D1 level kids? And here's the thing, the reason I'm bringing this one up. I just read an article about a kid that's in an Ivy League school. Had a great, I'm not going to say what sport or whether they're male or female, but they had a great first 3 years of college. I mean, just really big time. Now, they're at an Ivy League. They are going to sit out their senior year playing that sport at the Ivy League school, and they're going to focus on, and then once they graduate from the Ivy League school, they're going to use their last remaining year to go play for a powerhouse program at another school that's like top of the top. They want to compare themselves against the best of the best, because yes, I'm in this Ivy League school and we're good for the Ivy League school, but how good am I at that other level? That's why this kind of came up for me. But here's the interesting thing: because of the NIL and what this kid did in the Ivy League school, for this year they're sitting out, they're going to make 7 figures in NIL deals. So the whole thing has changed. So think about this. You're playing against kids that have already played at the collegiate level, had a great career there. Maybe they got in the transfer portal. Maybe they decided to sit out like this kid did, and they're going to go play against you. Now, you're coming out of high school. You're competing against all these people. You got people that came out of the JC because they didn't have their grades together before they went into college, so they had to go the JC route. They're competing against you. You got kids that went to prep school. You got all this competition, and you're just thinking you're going against the other high school athletes. So you have to prove yourself against the collegiate level player, because why would I just take a kid off the transfer portal that had a good year wherever they were? They can come play at our level, and I know they can play at the collegiate level, and I know academically they can handle themselves. You are behind the 8 ball there. Here's the next one. For the school administrator, the athletic director, you guys got to get your kids some PR, some notoriety. So that's the other thing. You've got to get exposure. And people think exposure or exposure tournaments, right? Combines, showcases, tournaments, that you're going to go out there and get your exposure. But if you have a great athletic program at the high school, then that athletic director, you guys got to get that newspaper, and not just your school newspaper or the local newspaper. You got to get that regional newspaper to come and see your kid. If you got some kids on your campus, you guys got to put them out there and do interviews with your own kids. Don't just write up a little article, a little blib in the newspaper. Do you guys have a newspaper on campus? Then they need to put some features on. Learn more about the kid. Do some interviews. Get a online channel for your school. You guys got to do that stuff. You got to get your kids exposure. So these are the things that I want you guys to think about if you want to go and play. And this, even if you don't get the D1 scholarship, at least you're putting yourself in a position to get a scholarship. And we'll talk more about that later. Here's the other thing I kind of want to throw out here. You know, we started to do some cool things for that 5 to 13. That's before you hit high school. And so one of the things I want you guys to think about as parents, you've got this kid. Is your kid separating themselves at 6, 7, 8 years old? I know it's early. You started at 5, and now they're 7, 8, 9 years old. They should be separating themselves early on if they're playing the right sport. And that's what I'm kind of getting into here. So your kids playing soccer, baseball, basketball, football, if they are just athletically better than the other kids, then somebody's going to come up to you as a parent. You're walking back to the car, you'll get a phone call, and they'll say, hey, you know, we're going to be doing this little special club team. We really would like your kid to come and try out. Or your kid will make the all-star team, and then there'll be a star on the all-star team. This is at a young age. That separation happens really, really early. If your kid has that, then they have something. One of the mistakes a lot of parents make there is they don't let those young kids play against better competition. Iron sharpens iron. So you need to get your kid, let them go ahead and play the all-star. And if that all-star team has an all-star team, let them play that too. You're going to have to milk that. Now, that may not even be their sport. Like my daughter was really good at soccer, but soccer wasn't anything I knew that much about it. And she played a long way. And at some point we had to make a decision, because she was also good at basketball. She was good at softball. She was good at a lot of sports. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I chose the sport that was indoors, basketball. And I didn't choose volleyball. She was good at volleyball. The reason I didn't choose volleyball is because our family's not that tall. We have some tall people, but not that tall. It's volleyball tall. And you would think basketball is the same thing, but I know basketball. I felt like she had the best chance to play there. And so these are things you guys want to think about. But does your kid separate? And so that's a physical separation. But there's also another separation that you'll see if your kid's going to be really a special kid at that particular sport, is their aggression towards making things happen. Like if they're playing soccer and they go towards the player's coming at them with the ball, they go towards that player. They're going to take it away, right? That kind of thing. Or if they have the ball and it's a battle, you know, they get side by side and they're trying to bump each other and all that. Is your kid the aggressor in that situation? That is another difference. So you can tell if your kid's doing that. And then the other one is where your kid is just mentally ahead of everybody else. They can make the other players do what they want them to do. They're going to psych them into, hey, I'm going to come running at you. I know you're going to pass it over here. I want you to pass it over here. Or I want you to go in this direction. Or I want you to do this. Or I want you to do that. Or I want the pitcher to do this. There is no fear. They're in control of the game. That's another way for you to be able to tell. So these are just some of the things that I want you guys to think about, because I still believe in my heart of hearts of every single kid out there, there is a sport that they have all of those things I just talked about. And even if they're not an aggressive person, they're feeling. It could be archery. It could be fencing. When they walk towards whatever it is that they're going to do, if they're doing archery, the way they pick up their bow, the way they go, they're aggressive on that. You can see the confidence in them. And the other thing is to talk to other people or listen to other people that are there that are observing the same that you're observing. If they start to whisper and talk about your kid probably has it. And I don't know how to explain it to you any more than that, but those are the things I want you to think about. So one of the big pieces, and you know, we have AthleticSOS. It is a software that we take your kids' academic information, the sport they play, the level they believe they can play at the collegiate level, and we find all the schools that academically qualified to attend that offer that sport and offer scholarship in that sport. And if you found this video, you don't have to pay for that software. I leave down below, I leave a code, I leave instructions for how to use the code, and there's a little brief video down there. There's a link to a YouTube video that kind of gives you a 1-minute overview of what the software is. Use our software because it changes everything for you, because what ends up happening is you're going to find all the schools your kid could go to. D1 has levels, right? There's the highest level, there's mid majors, and then there's even low major D1 schools. If you get to those schools, all that NIL, all that stuff we're talking about now, all the changes that are made, your kid's going to get an opportunity for that. But also there are D2, D3, NAIA schools they can go to. It still changed their life. Remember, our goal is the access. It's not the sport. It's not how great they are. They're going to get access to a lot of things that other kids just don't get. So those are one of the things that we want to get done. Get your kids out there. Think about it a little bit as far as them being in the right sport. Do they have the height? Do they have the weight once they get to high school? Are they going to be able to make that leap to the collegiate level? These are the kind of things that you have to think about as a parent. So all of that stuff is best of luck to you guys and your kids. I know you guys want this really bad. I'm talking to a lot of parents. Use the software. It's yours. No cost to you guys to use it. And you guys will make it. You'll get where you want to get to. And even if you don't, remember, we've got the athletic piece of it. But we also have the journey. So make sure you take advantage of all of that access you get for your kid being a young athlete, going through the places you're going to go, people you're going to meet, people, places, things. Let your kid get exposed to as much as possible so they can find the thing that they fit into there. So you can join both of these. And this is what makes youth sports really valuable. So even if you didn't make it to the collegiate level, that 5 to 17, because you're taking a little bit of their childhood away by them playing it, especially if they're playing at a high level. You're taking a little bit of that away from them. Give it back to them in a different way. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to get off my soapbox here. You guys have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.